Welcome to the Found Her podcast. I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Shannon.
And we are the filmmaker, photographer, and co-founders of Found Her Productions. Together, we capture the essence of women so they can communicate their truth with confidence and ease.
Through working with our clients, we've learned that each of their stories are so unique and, to our surprise, mostly nonlinear. We believe these stories deserve to be heard to inspire women along their own journey to finding themselves and creating the life that they truly desire.
This podcast is where badass, trailblazing boss ladies will expose the ups, the downs, and everything else involved in creating their own path in work and in life.
So sit back, get comfy, and get ready
to be inspired. Okay, so that only took us
the whole time that we planned
2 hours to figure out technical difficulties, and for the second time. Because the first time we tried to do this, which was probably like, I don't know, a month ago or more.
It feels like longer than that, yeah.
We spent the whole session that we had blocked off in our calendars figuring out technical difficulties, which included running to Long and McQuaid. Shout out to Long and McQuaid.
Like a few curse words later and we have it set up.
Yeah, and here we are.
And here we are, discarding half of the equipment that we purchased to use for it and just going straight into the computer.
Turns out you just need the basics.
Just the basics. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
We're really good at visuals.
Yeah, we are not audio technicians, believe it or not.
At this moment, we are becoming. We're in the very early stages of becoming.
We're in training, pretty much. Anyway, cheers.
Coffee cheers.
Coffee cheers.
Love it.
We're here.
Yay.
So this is our first podcast episode, the Found Her podcast.
Yeah. We've been talking about this for a while. Coming soon.
Yeah, I feel like it's been 9 months or something that we've been coming sooning it.
Oh my gosh. Maybe even more. But
yeah.
But I guess that's kind of how it goes when you're running a business. Like, you can't necessarily do everything all on day one.
No, and you get like all of these ideas that just kind of like flood to you, and you can't keep up. You just can't always keep up, but it's okay because you don't necessarily have to. It just can work itself out when the time is right.
Yeah, exactly.
And we have this like fun setup here. We're in our office, and if we had tried recording it before we had our office, it wouldn't have been as fun, maybe.
Definitely wouldn't have worked out this well. Yeah. And kind of grateful for the fact that we selected this space, because it is nice to have like a closed space where we can do this kind of with a bit of privacy.
Yeah, close the door.
Not have everyone in the co-working space hear us struggle to set this up.
Hear all the curse words. Oh, there were many. So I guess like we'll just kind of talk about, I don't know, like what to expect with this podcast that we're
maybe we can
kind of
talk
just
about
winging it.
Maybe we can talk about where the idea came from, the inspiration came from to do this.
Yes, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's the same for both of us.
Well, let's hear yours. I'm curious. Let's hear both. Yeah.
Well, my inspiration for this came from our initial consultation with our client, Jen Aaron, back when we were doing in-person consultations.
Yeah.
And we would record them. I would record them on my phone because I always wanted to re-listen to them to remember all of the gold that came up in the conversation.
Yeah, and just to like make sure you know what to like, or what angle to capture the footage that you're shooting. Exactly.
Yeah. Because those meetings would always, especially with Jen, I feel like we just get chatting and it goes on for hours, and
it feels like no time has passed at all, and it's just like such an engaging conversation. I totally remember that as well. I had that same experience.
Yeah, like I feel like the word meeting is probably like the wrong term, because it actually just feels like a conversation. And so it's like impossible to remember everything that gets discussed. So anyway, I was re-listening to one of our meetings with Jen, and just remember thinking, like, as I was listening to it, I was like, I wish like other people need to like hear this conversation, because like everything that gets said, you know, like we're asking Jen a million questions about her background and her story and her inspiration and all the things, her work. And, you know, even though we use all of that to like direct how we end up creating stuff for her, it's like not all of it gets revealed.
That's right. Yeah.
In the same way it does in just like a organic conversation.
That's right. Yeah. We kind of wrap it up in a 2 or 3 minute film and put a bow on it. And then there's all this other like amazing messaging, I guess, that can't necessarily, you can't fit all that into a 2 or 3 minute video.
Exactly. Yeah. And like having, I think too, like having the client, like have the words come from them, you know, like have them speak to all of it is like so much better. It's like directly from the source. So I guess the inspiration for this came from like wanting to give our clients a chance to like do that in a way that's like a little more polished than like a phone recording, and that could be shared with other people with the intention of them being able to share their story, and then, you know, hopefully like it inspires other people to like hear their story, because the stories are always, you know, the stories for anyone are never all like, it's like all good, you know, like there's ups and downs, and I don't know, it's like nice to hear the human side of it, I guess.
For sure. Yeah. Going over kind of like the obstacles, the triumphs. Yeah. And really like these unique stories that you wouldn't necessarily know about unless you took the time to listen, or unless somebody took the time to do what we're wanting to do, which is like put the spotlight on them. So these stories can get out there. Because I don't know, when I was growing up, if we're going to use Jen Aaron as an example, like I grew up in Markham, and it wasn't necessarily the most like artistic and like culturally driven place, I guess. So that sort of thing was not an example that I got to see at all or hear about growing up. And Jen's a fiber artist for those of you listening.
Yes.
Which in like, I guess in the practical sense of things, she's taking yarn and fabrics and stuff and, you know, weaving it and attaching it to sticks. And like, you'd think like, it's like, if you were just to look at it that way, like it's just a bunch of knots and sticks. And, but there's like so much more to it, like so much more to it. And having these conversations with these artists and understanding like the meaning that they're bringing to these materials and the assembly that they're putting them, or the assembly that they're creating with them. Yeah. It's just fascinating to see that side, that creative side of people. Because everybody has that, and everybody's going to approach what they create in a different way. Yes. I always love thinking about the idea of like handing the exact same materials to 10 different people, and the idea that they're going to produce something completely different with those same materials.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's like what they end up doing with it is like so informed by their like life experience.
Yeah, that's another really interesting thing.
And their perception of anything and everything.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you've heard this, that there's like some interviews with artists, and they asked like, I can't remember who the artist was that they were interviewing, but she was an older woman, maybe like in her 60s, mid 60s. And in an interview, she was asked how long it took her to paint a certain painting. And she was like, it took 65 years for me to paint this. So it's like, I kind of love that answer. Obviously it didn't take her 65 years to apply the paint to that canvas, but it took her 65 years of life experiences to be able to create it.
Yeah. Oh my God. I love that. Mm-hmm. I love that. Yeah.
I wish I could remember the exact example, but if I think about it, I'll link it below wherever we're posting this.
Check out the link below or beside or whatever format.
We haven't gotten that far yet.
Yeah, it'll be there somewhere available for you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. It's like the accumulation of everything you experience directs you in certain ways. At every point in your life, it's just an accumulation of everything that you've experienced.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's great. I kind of love how these things, like, you don't necessarily discover these types of purpose like at any particular stage of your life. It can kind of come up at any time, which is another interesting thing that I found from that conversation with Jen. Was like, she'd already had this creative career in photography and made the decision on her own, and had to have some courage to back that decision to actually go for like a second completely different career in a different industry or different field, I guess, different medium.
Yeah.
And then just approach it kind of in a seamless way, almost like she'd reached this level of success as photographer and she just like kind of moved over laterally as a weaver and almost logically you'd think she'd have to go back to the beginning, but it's like she applied her experience to this new thing and just was able to like start, or what I'm interpreting anyways, was able to kind of start with a bit of a head start as a weaver because of what she'd gained and
totally, or like
career.
Or like just without having that other career, maybe wouldn't, and kind of like realizing what she didn't want anymore led her into something she does want. And without having that career that's seemingly like unrelated, like you said, it's lateral.
Yeah, I could see that topic coming up a lot in this podcast, the idea of not knowing what you don't want being as valuable as knowing what you do want, or it being valuable in terms of getting to the point where you do know what you want. Yeah.
Which it totally is.
Yeah.
So valuable.
It's super valuable. Yeah. I think like one of these great things when it comes to focusing on women and their careers is that it's not linear at all. And I think they'll like a lot of examples will start to show once we start chatting with our clients about how, well, I mean, we've already kind of had these conversations with them in the consultation and it like across the board, it's been a nonlinear journey for everybody that we've talked to. And I think that's a cool thing to talk about too, because if there's expectations of like that we put in ourselves or limiting beliefs that we have that it has to go a certain way, they don't really help us. So it's good to know. It's good to be aware of the fact that everybody's journey is going to look a little bit different.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I feel like that happens so much, with the people we've worked with, like including ourselves.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And I think that part of like the story of people reaching whatever degree of success that they're at is so important. And it's something that you want to hear about when you're kind of at that stage where you're like feeling unhappy in what you're doing, or you're like considering making a transition, or you just made a transition and you're like, oh my God, this is really fucking hard right now because it's all brand new. Yeah. Maybe you're regretting it. Maybe you're second guessing it, whatever.
Your faith is being tested.
Yeah, which happens.
It does. It's part of the hero's journey.
It's part of the hero's journey. Shout out to Christy Wong. We just did a webinar with her. Yeah, no, it totally is. It's like, it's part of the process, right? So, and it's okay. Like, it's okay that shit can feel really hard sometimes.
I know. It's like all part of the fun. It's
all part of the fun.
When you're kind of in one of those moments, if someone were to say that to me, I would probably curse at them. But
yeah, I know. It's not the thing you want to hear when you're in it.
No,
but just
if you can come to that. Yeah. If you can come to that sort of on your own without being reminded by someone else, I feel like that's a really valuable skill.
Yeah, for sure. Have. It's like the idea of like one step back, two steps forward kind of thing, right? Like it's anyone that's interested in like evolution in their lives, like as in like continuing to grow and expand, like you're going to have setbacks. You just are. Yeah. And that's what makes you better and stronger.
Seriously. Yeah. Learning how to embrace the setbacks is definitely something that's come to the forefront of my mind in my own journey, I guess.
Definitely. Yeah, for sure. I think
go ahead.
No, you go.
I was going to say, I think that's one of the reasons why I feel like it's so important to focus on something that you love, because when you have a setback, you're like, for me anyways, the motivation to push forward is so much stronger if I'm working on something that I actually care about.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I think the opposite would be giving up and quitting, right? And I mean, that's just not really the ideal thing to like quit. It's nice to like kind of conclude something or complete something instead of quitting, but maybe I'm digressing a little.
Yeah. I mean, some would say that quitting is good when you know when it's right to be quitting.
That's right. Yeah.
I read a book by Seth Godin about that, the dip. It's a good one. It's kind of like knowing when is a good time to quit and cut your losses for the sake of growth. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
Quitting isn't necessarily a bad thing, but
not necessarily a bad thing. No.
Yeah. Like you could be quitting bad habits, for example.
That's true. Right? That's true. And again, that's another thing I've been learning on my own journey is the good and the bad habits that, you know, help propel me forward and being aware of the ones that don't.
Totally. Yeah. I feel like I'm sitting really, really funny. Like, I don't know how this is coming across on the video, but like, I feel like I'm like sitting like kind of like my legs are, I'm not very comfortable and I probably don't look great like this.
I feel like I'm kind of like talking to my microphone like I'm about to sip from a straw.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that was way too loud. Yeah. So this is our first time doing this, and so we are super amateur. Yeah. And it's okay.
And it's okay.
It doesn't have to be perfect. Somewhere. Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect. You just kind of do it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess like the purpose of this webinar, we've been plowing through our webinar stuff over the last couple of weeks. The purpose of this podcast is to basically inspire people.
I think also, inspire people, like educate people, bring awareness to possibilities that you didn't know even existed, maybe help you understand what you don't want or what you do want in terms of career or being an entrepreneur, or maybe you're listening to this and translating the value into other areas of your life, like relationships or whatever area, really.
Yeah, personal shit. We've all got personal ups and downs.
I know, and it's remarkable how much like the energy in relationships mirrors the same energy, mirrors the energy that you have with a career that you care about. Mm-hmm. Like, it's interesting.
Totally. Oh yeah. Yeah, it all carries over.
Yeah, it all carries over for sure. I was watching or listening to, I was kind of getting into some material around financial abundance and how to attract it. And I kind of loved that, like some of the meditations I was listening to reinforced the idea that you'll know that the abundance is flowing to you and it's starting to come in bigger amounts when you experience a better state of being, which I thought that was really interesting because it's almost like suggesting that you'll kind of access abundance with ease through being at ease as a human. And it's something I've been putting a lot of thought into lately personally, because I think everybody kind of, well, I don't know, maybe everybody doesn't, maybe I'm projecting, but I like to think that everybody likes money and abundance and the freedom to do whatever they want because they have enough money.
Right. And it's definitely I would say a common desire.
I think it's a common desire. Yeah. I'd say it's pretty common for sure. And I've kind of lived my life with like this approach to earning money and never really questioned or doubted it or took the time to learn more about it, and just thought it was really transactional. You give this many hours and you get this many dollars, and then you can buy this many things, and then you can start over. Like,
right.
And I did. Yeah. And obviously like there's other ways of doing it, because if that's the case, then like nobody would be really financially abundant, because you would run out of hours, unless you were getting paid some ridiculous amount per hour. But like, I think that's kind of one of the interesting things about the energy, like the idea of just if you're just called money energy.
Yeah. Like, yeah, totally. There is an energy behind it. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Something like a concept that I'm fairly new to in relation to money is the idea of like feeling like grateful when you spend it or give it or whatever, like, but when it's leaving you, basically. Yeah. Instead of that feeling like, oh, okay, I'm putting this much here, now I have this much left, and like feeling guilt, feeling stress that you had it and now it's gone.
Like, what if you spent it on the wrong thing?
Yeah. And then it's just gone, right? It's leaving like an empty space.
Those exact dollars are gone forever.
They're never coming back.
Yeah. But the good news is that you got other different dollars on their way.
On their way over.
On their way.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like the exchange of energy, right? Like feeling like I'm so happy that I have this to put towards this, and now I'm giving it to whoever, whether it's fucking your phone bill, like I'm giving it to Fido, and now they have it to use it for whatever they need to use it for. And now I have a functioning phone
service.
That's great, and I'm really appreciative that I have that. Instead of like, oh, I gotta pay that fucking phone bill, another $100.
I know.
That's usually more than $100.
That's so funny.
Honest.
I actually had a friend on this topic. I think this is kind of a relatable story. I had a friend who lives out of town. I went to go visit her, and she picked me up from the bus station in her car that her parents gave her. And as we were driving back to her place, we had to stop for gas, and she was not so pleased to be stopping for gas. And she was complaining about having to put gas in the free car. And even said I had said, oh, your parents gave you a car? That's pretty sweet. You know, like that's such a score. I would kind of love it if my parents gave me a car. And she's like, yeah, but now I have to put gas in it. I had to pay for the gas. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of glass half empty thinking right there.
My God. I don't know if there's like a better example of that. Yeah, but now I have to put gas in it.
I wonder if she'll remember if she listens to this, if she'll remember that it was her.
She'll recognize like, oh, I think that was me.
Yeah. But I thought it was hilarious, and definitely an example that stuck with me, because I think I had really just kind of started my entrepreneurial journey, and I was strapped for cash at that point. And I was also kind of becoming more aware of how important gratitude is in all of this stuff, in coming to that energy where you can attract money with ease. And the gratitude thing was like a big one. It stood out, and I was a lot more aware of like when I was in the presence of gratitude and when I wasn't.
Yes, totally. Makes a huge difference. I wish I knew more about the way this might be more like up the NLP, like the neuro linguistic programming alley, so I can't explain it because I'm not super familiar with how all of that works, but there's something that happens in like the wiring of your brain when you feel gratitude. That just makes you like obviously like mentally and emotionally healthier, but just like healthier. It's like good by like physiologically for your body. To feel gratitude.
Oh, definitely.
And like gratitude is so hot right now.
It is so hot right now.
But for good reason. And hopefully it stays hot.
I think so. Yeah, I hope so too. I got a tote bag recently. I ordered one from Danielle Sweeney, calligrapher Danielle Sweeney.
Another client of ours.
Client of ours, and she does these amazing tote bags and t-shirts with her calligraphy on it written, gratitude changes everything.
Oh yeah, I love those.
I love it too.
Did you order one?
I did order one.
Awesome.
Yeah. I can't wait for it to arrive. But I like that the idea of having it on a tote bag or something. So it's like a nice reminder for anyone that I run into or I'm around on the street, and maybe I'm hoping that it'll like create this force field of gratitude around me.
Like people will see it and be like I needed to hear that today.
Yeah, exactly, that type of thing.
That's amazing. I love that.
I used to have this other one that just said I love you on it, and I feel like when I was on the streetcar, people were their energy was just good. I just felt like the energy was good around me. I was convinced that it was the bag.
Yeah. I used to have a tank top. Like I feel like I got it at like Warp Tour like 12 years ago or something.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Maybe more.
Who was headlining?
Probably like Sum 41 or something.
Yes.
And it said stay positive on it. And I remember like anytime I wore it, I was like walking down the street, like everyone's looking at me right now. I'm just like exuding this, like I'm going to change your day. I'm going to
like, lift your vibration.
Fucking proud.
I'm going to raise your vibration.
Stay positive.
And raise mine in the process.
Yeah, I actually did feel like a different level of vibration, which at the time I wouldn't have been able to describe it as I do now with different knowledge and age and life experience. But that shirt definitely took it up a notch vibration wise.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how like little simple things like that can make such a big difference. If you have the gratitude for them. Yeah.
If you're in the practice of expressing gratitude regularly. Yeah. So maybe we should talk a little bit about like how we met and like,
oh my gosh, yes. I feel like
our love story.
I think I definitely think that this should be talked about for sure, because it's one of those things where I think it just took a lot of thought and a lot of courage on like both ends to like
a lot of just like, I feel like trust in like just kind of going with the flow with something. Like the way it all started out is like so different than the way it is now in like a pretty short span of time. Like it really evolved quickly.
Yeah, it definitely did.
And I feel like, the story behind it is like, I don't know, almost like surprising for people to hear. Just, I don't know if it's like the momentum that happened so fast or what, but it really all just kind of like came together.
It really did. And before, like, one of the things that I think was so interesting about it was I was like journaling, and right before you approached me,
before I came into your life,
before you came into my life, I had been an entrepreneur for a few, like maybe a couple of years, and I was starting to like miss certain things about my past experiences, and I felt like I didn't want to work as a solopreneur anymore. I didn't want to work alone anymore. I really liked the idea of feeling like I was part of a team again. And it's so interesting because like I really didn't, oopsies.
Amateur move.
There's a microphone there. I didn't project that outward like vocally, but I guess I must have projected it out there energetically in some ways, because there was, well, anyways, maybe I'll let you take it from here and say like, maybe touch on like what provoked the idea to approach me to do a collaboration.
Yeah. Oh man. Again, I feel like I was just kind of following a spark. Like I don't even know why I felt so inclined to do it. It was like I just picked up on something, I guess. I don't know, without like sounding too like woo woo about it. I mean, like I was aware of you because you took portraits of me. So I knew that like, well, first of all, I knew that your work was like fucking amazing.
Oh, thanks. Blushing over here.
Yeah. And that you worked with women, like pretty much exclusively. And not that you just worked with women, but that you wanted women to feel like, I think like I can't remember the term you used in like your Insta bio, but it was like empowering women through your portraiture.
I think it's I'm passionate about helping women feel empowered through portraiture. Yeah, something along those lines.
Amazing. Yeah, that's really, really beautiful. It's necessary. Okay. Sorry about that. We had a camera issue. Okay. All right. I digress. Another amateur move.
Doesn't have to be perfect.
Yes, exactly.
The theme of this episode is going to be titled,
yeah,
It Doesn't Have to Be Perfect.
It doesn't have to be perfect. And this is a very clear example of that.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. You're welcome for setting the example.
Yeah.
So what was I talking about?
How amazing my work is.
Oh, right. I was complimenting you. Yes. How could I forget? So I just come out of like doing a project with a friend, my friend Dion, who's an interior designer. She asked me to take photos of her, and honestly at the time I was like so new to doing like freelance photography that I was like, yeah, I'll take interior photos of your, like, she's an interior designer. I'll take interior photos. And it's like, I'm not an interior photographer, like, but I was at the point where I was just taking on like any photo job, basically, like any photo job. And she's a friend, so like I think she was like, you know, trying to give me some work, which was amazing. And I was like, how would you feel about me like shooting some video of you and kind of like experimenting with that? And she was down, which I'm appreciative of. And this video that I ended up shooting for her and like putting together, I feel like it just came together so smoothly, like almost like really easy. And I was like, I really loved it, even to this day, it being my kind of like intro into this kind of filmmaking that I'm doing now. It was like, it came so easily, and I really loved the final piece so much because it was like I always hate saying promo video. It's like such a dirty term to be saying headshot.
It doesn't sound like an artistic thing. It sounds very functional,
and, like kind of corporate-y. Yeah, exactly.
Non-emotional, very dry.
Yeah, you know, I have to think of like a better term that's like people will understand what I'm talking about. That's not promo video.
Yeah, it's so funny because it does do like, I mean, it's not dry or like just functional or practical at all, the video or the film that you made.
Yeah.
So it should have a different title.
It should.
Yeah.
It should.
A different term to describe it, I suppose.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a sidebar. I'll think of something. I felt really, really good about the way it turned out because it was like, it was talking about her business, but there was like such a personal touch to it that, like, I feel like maybe made her feel empowered by being able to like kind of share the personal part of her story and like how her business came to be through that film. And I just fucking loved it so much. I loved working on it. I loved the concept, and I wanted to do more of that.
Did you feel really inspired by your subject?
Yeah, because like Dion, I don't know if you'll listen to this, but like obviously I love you, but she's got like an edge to her, which is like amazing, and I love that about her, and I know other people do, and I know that edge can really work in your favor. You know, like you don't have to be afraid of your edge.
I like that. Oh, I
like
love
embrace
that.
your edge.
Embrace your edge.
It makes you stand out in your industry, right? Like
That's
it doesn't
so
have to be a bad thing. Like I remember she was like, I kind of want to say fuck in the audio, like in the voiceover. And she's like, I remember her saying like, I want to say fuck. And I know that that's super edgy, but it's me. And I was like,
good.
Fuck. Yes. I don't know if that's clever
all
enough
she says in the video, like over and over again.
Yes. She loves what she does.
That's awesome. But, I loved the video too. And it was when I saw it, I can't remember if I saw it before or after we had the conversation I must have seen it before, I think.
I honestly think I showed it to you either the first time we met up at the park.
Okay.
Or right after that. Maybe I sent you a link right after that.
Okay.
Because I think at that point it wasn't even complete yet. It was like almost done.
Gotcha.
But it was like done enough to get kind of like the sense of like where I was going with it. Yeah. Also, there is like another part to this story that around that same time when I was completing that video, I met up with a photographer for a coffee. Like I was in that stage again where I was like, can I just like talk to people in the industry and like try to like learn from them, like people that are like successful in the industry. And I met up with a photographer for a coffee, and she was like, she was telling me about this video she got done. She's like, I paid $700 for this guy to do a video of me doing a shoot, and she's like, I fucking hate it. It's cold. It doesn't show my personality at all. It was like her speaking on camera and like a little bit of footage of her doing a shoot, and she was like, I don't even know if she's used it. Like she was like,
that's such a bummer.
I hate this. Like it's not me. Like it's just not representing me. And like her telling me about that, I was just like, I was like, I remember thinking like, I can represent you. Like, give me the chance. Which she was like, yeah, for sure. And it hasn't happened yet, but maybe it will. Anyway, those things kind of happened at the same time. That video for Dion, that conversation with that photographer. And I remember like driving away from that coffee date and just feeling like a rush of adrenaline that I was like, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to do.
No
oh my
way.
God.
I didn't know this part. That's so fun.
That
must have been so exciting to like sort of kind of discover your purpose that way. Like
about
how you could bring these talents to be really meaningful projects. Or be really valuable to the people in them, or be really loved by the people in them.
Yeah. And like, I love people. Like I love getting to know people, like asking them questions about themselves and like learning about them. And I love the medium as well. And just like, I don't know. It just, the rush of adrenaline I had after that coffee meeting, I think I was like driving home in the car being like, yes, woo! I have to do this. I have to do this. Like just so amped.
Happy dance.
And like now I know where that like energy was coming from, because it was like, oh, I found my path. I just hadn't known it.
Gosh, how exciting is that?
Yeah, it was really cool. That. Yeah, it was cool. Looking back, very cool.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
Mine was so different. Like, I remember when I decided that I wanted to just focus in on photographing women and making them feel empowered, I remember being like really emotional about it, like really like scared, just like so scared, and like thinking like kind of really unsure of whether or not it was a good move or not, like
right.
And I was just really like fearful of, I guess, doing something and failing, really, like just not not feeling super confident that it would take off.
Right.
I don't know, I guess I had a lot of limiting beliefs around it, but I went for it anyways because I was encouraged to by my coach at the time, and I'm really glad that I did, because I ended up learning so much about like specializing in something which I would never really have given myself the opportunity to do if I hadn't kind of been encouraged in that way.
Right.
And then through experiencing it, facing the fear and experiencing it, I discovered how much I absolutely loved it and how much it absolutely did take off, and like how it brought a lot of value and meaning into people's lives to have the types of photos that I was creating for them. And that's kind of when I started to feel more connected to just more connected to the purpose overall, and feeling like really secure about it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that like feeling emotional, it's like a similar kind of reaction, you know, like I was emotional in like an excited way. You were emotional in a different way, but it's all emotion.
That's true. Yeah.
And it's all being fueled by like something that's like clicking.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I was just so scared, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. Cause like fear too, like fear as an emotion is like, can also be an indicator that something's clicking.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like fear and excitement really are very similar in terms of how the body expresses them.
Yeah, they are. Definitely. Yeah. Oh shit. I just noticed that my laptop's going to die.
Oh, okay.
Again, a great example that this is not perfect. I'm just going to reach and get my charger.
For sure.
And we're back.
And we're back. I love it.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, so I guess from there, I guess I had the same urge as you were saying about like not like kind of like wanting to be working with other people, not necessarily like on your own all the time. I like that too. Like I like the kind of like the team. It's like the mastermind too, you know, like bringing more heads into the table to like do work is like, how could that not be valuable? You know, I mean, there's probably a lot of times it's not valuable, like when you're like clashing and stuff like that. But,
right. Yeah. If only every team would like had a good dynamic, but yeah, you got to work for that good dynamic. I feel like
totally. Yeah.
It's worth it.
Yes, totally. Yeah. Yeah. So I reached out to you and I was like, it was totally on a whim. Like I was like, I think my message to you was like, hey, this is like totally out of nowhere, but do you want to like meet up and chat about something like a potential opportunity? I don't even know how I worded it, but
I think you were, if I remember correctly, it was really vague. It was like really cryptic. Yeah. It was like, so you were probably meet me at Dufferin Park to talk about something. I have something I want to talk to you about. I'm like, okay,
I'll be there.
Okay.
Oh my God. I mean, I think I had to be vague at that point because I had no idea what I was even pitching to you. It was just a little teensy idea at the time. And you came and met me at Dufferin Grove Park at the playground because I had Quinn, my daughter, home with me that day. And so she was playing on the playground while we were having this conversation. I think that we both got excited after that, and we were like, well, let's just keep the conversation going.
Yeah, I remember I was excited and I was flattered because I also admired your work, and I also admired like your drive, like you're showing up all the time and consistent posting of like quality work. And I just remember thinking like stoked, but also really like I was questioning like why you wanted my involvement versus doing both. Yeah, I guess a bit of a why me thing and some maybe some lack paradigm going on there too, because I was like, well, like Kelsey can shoot photos and video. I wonder why.
Yeah, I remember you asking about that.
Why is it important to team up with me if she has both of those skills?
Right.
And
I
didn't
that.
like, I was a little confused by it, but also very interested to like continue the conversation, I guess, because I had that desire to work on a team again, or not alone, I guess. But
right.
Yeah.
I remember you asking about that, like, just out of curiosity, like, why wouldn't you want to do it all by yourself?
Yeah.
But now, when you think back on that question, you can see why, right?
Yes,
like,
definitely.
Like, not even just that doing photo and video is like a lot for one person, but just like the team dynamic.
Yeah.
Of working on this stuff together is like so valuable.
Yes. And funny, like at the time I really had no concept that we'd have big ideas like starting a podcast and doing webinars and things like that. So now it's like extra makes sense that you can't do it all on your own.
Yeah,
like,
extra makes sense.
Extra makes sense now that now that we've taken on all these different things, and it's like, okay, we might even need to add more people to help us with the workload that we've created for ourselves.
Still too much. It's still too much for us. Yeah. In a really good way.
Yeah, in a phenomenal way, in a really empowering way, because it's like we just created all this stuff. Like we just made it happen. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just approached it kind of fearlessly. And this is like similar to when I was talking about relationships before, because I remember we kind of talked about collaborating. We'd meet up, and we hadn't actually worked with any clients yet. And I think we were maybe just starting to talk about the clients that we wanted to work with or people that we wanted to approach. Mm-hmm. And I think it was almost like one of those things in my head where I was like, what are we? Like, what are we though? Like, I feel like we need to establish this before we hit the ground running with, and like take on clients, and then, but like maybe not even have like our, professional relationship established or like understood. So I was like worried about potentially like gaining clients, but the partnership dissolving for one reason or another. Right. So it's like I needed to have some like reassurance or like your dedication proclaimed, like type thing. Yeah.
And that actually, like, I kind of look back on that as being like a turning point. And it was we got the nudge from our client, Catherine Farquharson, who was one of our initial clients, who was like kind of came on in agreement that like, we're kind of feeling this out. We don't even have a name yet. Like, we don't even know what we are. Are we like a production company? Are we like a media agency? Are we like content creators or whatever term? We didn't know. And so she we're so like thankful that she like agreed to just like take the risk with us. I mean, she knew us and our work, so like she was like confident, but when we sat down and kind of pitched to her, she was like asking out of curiosity, like, where do you guys see this going? And was like, you guys should probably like establish that kind of, like, what's your goals here? Like, where are you guys both on the same page?
Well, yeah, we were inviting her to sign up for like a year program, package with us. And so she wanted to know that we'd fulfill it. Like,
yes, that we would stay together.
That we would stay together so we could fulfill it.
That's where like the running joke of a partnership like this being kind of like a relationship or a marriage, right?
Yeah, seriously.
Like it was kind of like
account now.
We have it, yes. Oh my God, we got a shared space.
That's
right. We moved in together.
It's so funny. I never would have like assumed that it like mirrors an actual like romantic relationship so closely. Yeah.
Like we were dating for so long, so many coffee dates.
So many coffee dates. Yeah. I really respect you for being so patient.
Giving you your space when you need it. Like,
but it's so funny. I remember like we did go and think about it, and then I remember sitting in the nook at the Tampered Press and like being so nervous to like open my journal and tell you like what I wanted, and I was like, but it's okay if you don't want this too, but I just have to say that this is what I want.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no pressure.
This is what I think it could be.
Yeah. And it was kind of like it was like the question of like, or we're proposing to each other, like, do we want to get married?
Yeah.
Or not?
Do we want to be casual?
Then let's not waste our time.
Yeah. Do we want to collaborate on a casual basis? Yeah. Or like
open relationship? Or what?
Or dive in and commit to a partnership and a business and a full-time endeavor, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't remember exactly what your initial vision was when we sat in the nook at the Tapered Press and shared our long-term visions with each other. But at that time, I remember mine being like, I think I want to commit like 50% of my working time to this. Because at the time, I was still really interested in doing like family stuff. So even then, I was like, this is like kind of a side thing.
Yeah, I think I got that impression too. And the more that we developed the packages and started talking about who we wanted to work with, I just like felt I knew that I would really like enjoy spending my time on those projects. And I was like, if I really enjoy it, then why not do it full time?
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like, I'm going to be smothering her. Like, she's not going to want this, but I have to be honest, about it. Yeah. And just in case it does appeal. And if it doesn't, worst case scenario, I could go to, casually collaborating or doing like a 50% dating other people. Hustle, not a full hustle.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think there was even talk at that point too of like potentially you were going to be moving to Orangeville or starting a co-working space. So it's like there's all these different variables,
all these different things. Person. Yeah, with this fucking person.
With this person, she's so talented. Can't hone in on one thing.
But she's complicated.
She's complicated. But no, that's a good thing. And like it only kind of like made me a little nervous, but overall I was nervous for a good reason, I think, right?
Yeah,
because it was something that I truly wanted.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, actually, like I think about that every once in a while, like looking back on the whole process from start to finish and how many times there were phases I went through where I was like, I don't know, like this doesn't feel right, like I don't know, like I'm kind of nervous, I don't know, do I want to commit to this kind of thing? And that again, kind of like looping back to what we were talking about before, how like growth and expansion involves some fear and questioning and discomfort and wanting to like pull the chute, and I've gone through dips like that, like not for a while, like not since we've really kind of like gained a lot of momentum and we moved in together and everything, like, I haven't been questioning it, but before, when it was still all coming together, we were just
going on a lot of coffee dates and like talking a lot essentially, but not necessarily like selling anything.
Yeah. And like, even like before we even got even close to selling anything, there was still so many conversations happening, and there were points where it felt like, oh, we're not making any progress here, like it's just not coming together.
It was coming together really slowly, and I think that was that I had a really similar response to that too, actually, because I was like questioning, do I really want to work with a partner, because I can't move ahead just like anytime I want to type thing. I gotta like make sure it lines up with your schedule before I can like chip away or whatever on certain things, because I wasn't about to create anything or decide on anything without consulting you, I guess. So especially in those stages. And I kept reminding myself of this one thing that came up in the coaching program a lot, is that like if you want to get paid more for what you do, you have to do more than you're getting paid for.
Right.
And we weren't getting paid at that time to like meet and work for.
And be putting all of this work into building.
At all. Yeah. Like, and we had no guarantee that we were ever going to get paid for it at all. And we kind of just allowed ourselves to believe it first and then see it, which I think is like a huge mindfuck for a lot of people.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's a huge mindfuck. It would have been a huge mindfuck for me if I hadn't gone through setting up my own business beforehand and understanding that like that's a possibility, or that's something that could happen.
Yes.
Or that's a way that it can go. I'm sure there are other examples where people kind of start creating and like they're getting paid before they know it, and like higher amounts than they ever imagined. I'm sure those examples exist, and this one wasn't necessarily that, but I'm not mad about how it went down at all, because it's like, it's almost like, again, in like the early stages of a relationship where you just like say you meet somebody and fall for each other, and then like one of them gets like really rich or really successful, but like that connection was real from like not having anything before. So it's like
that's what we have.
We have that. We have like, well, we just kind of like, I guess, aligned energetically, and we didn't need to like or that was like enough, I guess.
Right.
Like to know that it was gonna like that there could be a worthwhile reason to come together, have these meetings, start creating, and just follow through with the inspiration, I guess, without any guarantees of any kind.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that might speak volumes to the fact that we have similar values when it comes to starting things.
Yeah.
and following intuition and following like the voices in you that kind of tell you what you want to do.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. The building of the foundation, I guess.
Yeah.
It was like how I would describe that whole phase.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not always smooth.
But yeah, it's funny because like when it, I feel like once we started getting our first few clients, the momentum really kind of took off from there. And then like COVID happened shortly after we started shooting with our first few clients.
Right.
And I feel like we just gained the momentum at the perfect time because we were able to like stay really positive and stay productive and like keep finding the good in the scenario.
Right.
And allowed us to push through and kind of thrive as a new business under these like crazy circumstances that nobody could have predicted.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It did come at a good time because it was like still so new, but we had kind of had our foot in the door. Like we had started shooting. We had new clients signed on. We'd started shooting with some of them like right before. Like I feel like our first shoot with Jen was like the beginning of March.
I think it was less than a week before quarantine. I'm pretty sure it was like March 4th or something like that we shot with her.
Thank God it didn't get postponed.
I know. Oh my gosh. Well, I was really glad to have that set of images to kind of keep me busy during times that I couldn't go out and shoot anything.
Yeah.
And then I think I had an artist breakthrough when I was working on the editing and stuff and kind of found a couple, I had the liberty of time to play around with that selection or with that session of photos, and through experimenting and playing around, I ended up finding like kind of a style that I liked, and by discovering that, it just made editing so much more fun and so much more easy.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And
oh my gosh.
Editing was always something that I was like, ugh.
Didn't like
it. Like I didn't like it took, well, I shouldn't say I didn't like it because there were elements of it that I liked. Like I loved seeing the final product. But like getting there was always kind of like it felt a bit like dragging bricks uphill. But then after I kind of had this experience and be like, oh, I like this, and this like set of adjustments that I did for this photo actually works really well for this set of photos too, and started kind of translating it and kind of like feeling like I found a bit of a style for myself. And
awesome.
Yeah,
it was great.
It like was able to have a positive experience like that during a negative time, but I think like the oops again. Whoopsies. But yeah, I think it's I like kind of attribute it to the fact that we had gained that momentum. I was in a positive like mindset when the lockdown was introduced.
It was introduced.
That's
a nice way of saying it.
And then like we got lucky and were able to continue shooting not too long after. I guess like a few months passed, and then we could start shooting again. But yeah, and now we're here.
And those photos are like amazing.
Thank
like
you.
They're so good.
The ones of Jen.
The ones of Jen. Well, I mean, everything you do is good, but
thank
like
you.
those ones are definitely some of my favorites.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that was one of those, I think this is my best work moments, you know? Like, I think this is my best work to date. Yeah. I love that when that happens.
Oh my God, it's the best. Yeah. When you're so proud, you just like can't wait to share it.
I know. Oh my gosh, yes, definitely.
Yeah. And like another part of our evolution as a business, I guess, was like moving into this space, which was like, is a whole other story.
Oh my gosh.
That we'll save probably for another time.
My gosh, what a good story it is.
Yeah. But it's made a huge difference.
It has made a huge difference.
Our momentum, I guess, like being in the same space and just like the feeling of like having an office and kind of like we've got our our decals on the windows. Like we're looking
so
at it right
legit.
now. It's behind the camera, but that feels really good.
It's funny. Yeah. I didn't know how easily you could get a window decal done and how easily you can install them. And I'm just like, why doesn't everybody have these?
I know, because the feeling is so much worth so much more than, I think I spent $45, ordered them online, 2 of them, one for the front door, one for our window of our office. And it was like $45. They came in the mail in like a week, and then we just slapped them on. Slapped them
right on the windows, and boom.
Now we're like, hey, everyone on the street, you know, we exist.
Yes, seriously.
It's pretty cool.
I've never had that before.
Me neither.
Never had that before.
And it seemed like, before doing it seemed like such a big deal to like have that, you know, like.
Yeah, and now it's just our normal.
It's just our normal.
We're talking about getting more window decals.
We might put one on. I might put some on my windows at home. Yeah, like now that I know how easy it is.
There's just founder productions everywhere in Toronto.
Like, where is this business? Like, how many locations do they have or need?
We just like the decals.
Yeah, we love the decals. Love them.
Oh my God.
Something kind of satisfying about like peeling it and like sticking it on, getting the bubbles out.
Oh my gosh.
That like tactileness.
Seriously.
Yeah.
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 I love having that label for our space. It's like when I see it and when I walk in, it's like this reminder that this is my space to create and be productive. Like it's a nice, a nice reminder.
Yeah. And it's almost like a, you know, like the nature of like the full space, like we are in a room of a full space. It feels very like clubhousey or something.
Yeah, it does.
You know,
welcome to our clubhouse.
Yeah, it feels like a clubhouse. Like even having like the rooftop and stuff. It's fun.
That is fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and we can just kind of make it our own.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do whatever we want here.
Anything we want. Anything.
Except for not wear masks.
Yeah, we have to wear masks because it's 2020.
Yeah.
Times are weird.
Yeah.
But that's no big deal.
Yeah.
That's also the new normal.
Yeah, that's also the new normal.
So
it's not that big of a deal.
No.
All right. Well, that was filled with technical difficulties, completely unscripted.
Oh, yeah. And again, the camera stopped recording. Why are you doing that? Why?
Oh, my gosh.
But I'm really glad we did this.
Yeah, me too. It's the start of something else.
Yeah, we got one in the bag. So I guess coming up next, we'll be doing each an episode where we are interviewing each other. So an episode where I will interview Shannon and talk about your story. You'll do one for me, just to get a little more deeper into like our own personal, individual stories, not the marriage part. I mean, that will come into it, but what
are you going to get jealous if I talk about my other relationships?
I don't. I told you. I don't like hearing about that.
I'll keep it brief. I'll keep it vague. I won't go into the minutia of it all.
God, I don't want to hear that shit. I'm very jealous. Very jealous, protective. Yeah. And then from there, we'll be interviewing like all of our clients.
Yeah.
Which I'm so excited about.
Oh my gosh, yes.
We've got some really, 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 really solid clients, and I'm sure stories that I can't wait to like get into.
Gosh, I want to hear all the anecdotes.
Yeah.
Definitely. And rehear some of the ones that we've already heard, because those consultation meetings are juicy.
They deserve to be heard, honestly. I remember coming out of them feeling like I like got to know someone really well. I'm feeling inspired by it.
Same. I remember walking out of those meetings and being like, as if these are my clients. Like,
or as if that was like a business meeting. I thought we were just having coffee and like shooting the shit and like getting real.
Oh my gosh, yes. It really felt pretty organic, I have to say. Yeah.
It did. Yeah, so lots of like really fun stuff to look forward to, and maybe as we go on, they will be a little smoother.
And we won't spend no 2
hours,
but that's part of the charm, right?
It's part of the charm. Time efficiency wise, hopefully we won't spend 2 hours before each episode.
You didn't like that? I kind of liked that.
Did you?
No, I did not
quality
like it.
Time together.
No.
Cursing.
Hence all the cursing.
Yeah, that was not quality time. Let's not do that again, preferably. Well, anywho.
It was part of the fun.
Yeah. Thank you for listening.
Yes, thanks for being here.
I feel like again, we should have some sort of call to action, but we'll figure that out for the next one.
Yeah. Unscripted today.
Yeah. Rolling with it.
Rolling with it. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for being here. And
for the next one.
See you on the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.